So when we see that basically the enzymes, they're first of all, first thing you need to understand is that they A's, the word A's, ASE A's, like you see ASE A's everywhere. So when you see ASE A's written, that means we're talking about the enzyme, okay? Because like you will be seeing the substrates and the products with the same name as the name of the enzyme, but the differentiating factor in between an enzyme name and the name of a substrate or a product is the last three letters ASEA. Okay, so that is the key point to pick up, that this is what they're talking about, an enzyme right now. Okay, so basically, what an enzyme do? What is the function of an enzyme? Okay, the function of an enzyme is just to catalyze a certain reaction. Okay, whatever the reaction is, regardless of any metabolic activity going on in your body, either it is a carbohydrate one or a protein one or a fat one or anything else. Okay, even when you were studying like some in your FSC level, when you used to study chemistry, at those levels also, in organic and inorganic chemistry, we used to study enzymes, okay, for certain reactions. So basically enzyme catalyzes or speed up a certain reaction. That's the only function of enzyme, okay, to speed up a chemical reaction. So all these reactions that are going in our body in the name of metabolism are all um, reactions, right? They all are chemical reactions, okay. And so now the name of enzyme describes its function, like what they do. So you have to kind of remember that these two, kinase and phosphorylase, okay, they deals with the phosphate group. Both of them deals with the phosphate group. Okay, now what is the difference between a kinase and a phosphorylase? Whenever we talk about a kinase, we are dealing with um, transferring a phosphate group from one molecule to another. Let's say if I'm talking about glucose, which is converting into glucose 6-phosphate, this is the first step of your glycolysis. Okay, glucose converts into glucose 6-phosphate. Okay, so what happens is, now if I'll let's say wait a second. Okay, so now see, if I am drawing uh, I draw a six uh, carbons. Okay, this is a chain of 6 carbons, and I'm drawing the structure of glucose. Okay, so let's say this is CH3. Okay, and then this is CH3. So at the third carbon we have OH ether, and then all OH are ether. Okay, so this is the structure of your glucose. Okay, this is the structure of your glucose. This is your glucose molecule. Now I'm converting this glucose molecule into glucose 6-phosphate. So basically what I'm doing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, basically what I'm doing, I'm not drawing the other chain. I'm only making this backbone of glucose. Okay, we are adding a phosphate here. Now this was CH3 because carbon has these 4 valence electrons. Okay, so one is binded to the upper carbon, the other vacant 3 are bonded to this 3 hydrogen groups. Okay, now what we are doing, when we are converting this glucose into glucose 6-phosphate, we are we are removing one hydrogen from here. Okay, I just removed one hydrogen which was previously present, 3 hydrogens. So now this carbon is left with 2 hydrogens. Okay, and I remove one hydrogen, and then I have this valence electron left over here. So what I'll do with that electron, I will attach a phosphate group to here. Okay, I am attaching a phosphate group to here. So now So now what this structure becomes, it becomes glucose 6-phosphate. Are you getting my point? Umme Arsala, Manzoor, you people just join. So are you getting what is this enzyme is doing? So the enzyme that is responsible for, okay, the enzyme that is responsible for this whole reaction, okay, that is a kinase enzyme. So now the name of the enzyme is also like always similar to the name of the substrate and the product. So if I'll ask that what is the name of this enzyme, what will it be? This is glucose and this is glucose 6-phosphate. So what will be your enzyme name at this particular level? This enzyme name is very important because it is also a rate limiting step. Okay, so if you will understand this conversion of glucose into glucose 6-phosphate, no, this is not a rate limiting, but okay. So you see now glucose is a 6 carbon chain. Let me change the color. Okay, now glucose is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Glucose is a 6 carbon chain. So we can say uh, glucose as hexose also. Okay, hexose means 6 carbon. Uh, okay, right? So we can say glucose as hexose also. And what are we doing here? We are adding a phosphate group. What are we doing? We are adding a phosphate group. So the phosphate group that I am adding over here in this structure is because of this enzyme which is called kinase. So I can name this enzyme as glucokinase or I can name this enzyme as hexose kinase. Are you getting my point, students? We have also, I can also show you in your Lippincott book. I can also show you in your Lippincott book. Uh, this is, I think, page number 9. Can you people see the screen? This is electron transport chain, introduction to carbon and glycolysis. Okay, so see this picture. See this picture in from your first aid book. You see this picture. What is happening? That glucose is being converted into glucose 6-phosphate. Okay, glucose is being converted into glucose 6-phosphate. And what are we doing? The enzyme name is hexokinase or glucokinase. So because glucose is a 6 carbon structure, we can say glucose is hexose also. Okay. So, and what are we doing? Again, we are adding a phosphate at this level. So where is this phosphate coming from? This phosphate is coming from this ATP. ATP is adenosine triphosphate. It has 3 phosphates. So this ATP will enter into this reaction. It will give one phosphate. Okay, it will give one phosphate and it will become ADP with diphosphate. The triphosphate will become diphosphate. One phosphate will be remaining. That one phosphate will go and bind to this glucose level. We have this H, H and OH. Okay, so one H will be removed and it will be left with CH, H and O. Now this O will have valence electron. That valence electron will bind with this phosphate and it will become like this. So now the glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate and and the enzyme here is kinase. So what the purpose of telling you this whole story is what kinases do. What is the function of kinase? So what are kinase doing? They are not adding phosphate group, but they are transferring the phosphate group from one molecule to another. The phosphate group is transferring from this ATP to glucose molecule, and that glucose molecule is converted to glucose 6-phosphate. Okay, so now when we go to your book, when we go to your textbook, you can read this definition that kinase catalyzes. Catalyzes means speed up. They speed up the transfer of a phosphate group from a high energy molecule, usually ATP, to a substrate. You're getting my point? Now they have given the example of enzyme phosphofructokinase. So we can see that example also. This phosphofructokinase is a glycolysis rate limiting step. Okay, this is a glycolysis rate limiting step. So you will also learn this enzyme name here, and you have to memorize it. You have to memorize this. Okay, learn this glycolysis rate limiting step enzyme is phosphofructokinase. Don't worry, I will show you that step also. Okay, so now if I go to, now you see this picture. See this picture. What is happening over here is your, this is the second step of your, this is the second step. The first step was glucose was converted into this structure, glucose 6-phosphate. Okay, and now this glucose 6-phosphate is converting into fructose 6-phosphate. Okay, so fructose is a fruit sugar. It is also a 6-carbon sugar. Glucose is also a 6-carbon sugar, but there is a difference between in their structures. Okay, and the difference is like the glucose structure is like 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. The glucose structure is like this, but the fructose structure is pentagon type. Okay, so the glucose is a hexose sugar and fructose is a pentose. Fructose is also a hexose sugar, but it has a double bond. Okay, so this is a basic difference in the structure, but you don't have to go into the details of the structure. You just have to understand that how we are proceeding with these enzymes. Okay, so now this is the second step. In the second step, you converted your glucose into fructose 6-phosphate. Then wait a second. So here you will see one enzyme name, that is isomerase. Okay, so you can understand, even if you will study only one cycle, you will see so many enzymes and you can understand the function of those enzymes from a reaction. What are you getting in this? Like what isomerase is doing? It is changing the shape of a substrate. Like it changes the shape of glucose 6-phosphate by adding a double bond O at the second carbon. We had this CHOH at this level. Okay, and what we did is we just changed the, or I may say that this was carbon number 1 and this was carbon number 2, but now this is carbon number 1 and this is carbon number 2. Just say for example, it changes the shape. This C double bond O along with an H enters here C double bond O. Okay, and because this was like, you see carbon has 4 valence electrons, so those 4 valence electrons are fulfilled in this structure. But what happens here, the double bond O, this remains same. Okay, this remains same, even this remains same, but this hydrogen is removed and this binded to the upper carbon, which we just change the position. Okay, they just change the position of the molecule. The rest of the things are same. Everything is same. You see, at carbon number 3, the position of hydroxyl is at the opposite side. At carbon number 3, the position of hydroxyl is at the opposite side. Okay, carbon number 4 and 5, carbon number 4 and 5 are same. Carbon number 6 is also same. They just did this change in position to change the structure, and because the structure is changed, the name is also changed. So isomerase did change the structure. Okay, now when let me take you to the rate limiting step. Now this is your third step. Okay, this is your third step of your glycolysis cycle. That fructose 6 phosphate which we created or produced in the second step is now converting into this fructose 1,6 bisphosphate, and this enzyme is your rate limiting enzyme. So please remember, phosphofructokinase is the rate limiting enzyme of your glycolysis cycle. Okay, remember this is your MCQ. Okay, this is your MCQ. Phosphofructokinase is the rate limiting enzyme of glycolysis cycle. Now what is happening over here? Again you see kinase. What is the function of kinase? It is adding a phosphate group from a high energy molecule. From a high energy molecule, the phosphate group is transferring into another molecule. So the phosphate of ATP is transferred to this fructose 6 phosphate, and we already had this one previously when we made the fructose. If I draw this fructose 6 phosphate structure over here in front of you, it was 1 carbon, 2 carbon, 3 carbon, 4 carbon, 5 carbon, and we have this 6 carbon. Okay, so at the level of 6 carbon we had a phosphate group. Okay, and at the second carbon we had this double bond O. Okay, and the rest were the same. Okay, at the third the hydroxyl was here and the rest structure was exactly the same. So now what is the change in this structure and this structure? What is the difference? The difference lies in this phosphate group now. This phosphate group was already present, but we added one phosphate group at this particular position. So from where this phosphate is coming? It is coming from this ATP. Okay, you are getting my point. ATP, which is a triphosphate, is converted to ADP, a diphosphate, and the phosphate that was removed from this ATP is added to this structure. So the enzyme which is doing this function is again a kinase. Okay, and the name of the enzyme is phosphofructo, because we are adding a phosphate group in the fructose structure. Okay, we are adding a phosphate in the fructose structure. That is why we named it as phosphofructo. And why kinase? Because the phosphate is coming from a high energy molecule, which is ATP. So the name phosphofructokinase. Do you understand how these enzymes are named and how can we determine the function, what is going on in that reaction just by the name of one enzyme? Are you understanding, students? So now if we go back to your textbook, okay, very good. If you go back to your textbook, now I think you are very much clear with the enzyme kinase. We can read the definition once again, that it catalyzes or speeds up the transfer of a phosphate group from a high energy molecule, usually ATP, to a substrate. And now you have seen this example also of phosphofructokinase, that what is happening. Now I will also like to take you to this see this step see this step also, not step, see this part also, that now you have to remember this. Okay, please remember this phosphofructokinase 1, PFK1. There are two. for PFK1 and PFK2. Okay, but PFK2 is not a rate limiting enzyme. PFK1 is a rate limiting enzyme. Okay, so you have to remember one along with it. We will study PFK2 also, but it is not an enzyme for glycolysis. It is an enzyme for gluconeogenesis. Okay, so when we will be studying gluconeogenesis, there you will be seeing PFK2. PFK2 is not a rate limiting enzyme of either of the any cycle. Only PFK1 is. So remember one along with this. Now you see these regulators. Now this is a very basic concept. What you were doing is you are converting, I'm writing in short form, okay, fructose 6-phosphate converted into uh, fructose 1,6 bisphosphate. Okay, this was going on via this enzyme. So in order to convert this substrate into this product, you were transferring a phosphate from ATP into this structure. Okay, so when your, that means you are needing energy to proceed your reaction. Okay, you are needing energy to proceed your reaction. Now if, let's say for example, if you have you you have sufficient ATP, your body has sufficient increased levels of ATP in your body, do you need glycolysis? Do you need TCA cycle? No. You are producing ATPs from glycolysis and TCA cycle. If your body has sufficient ATP, do you need it? It's just like you are not hungry. Your stomach already has food inside. Will you eat more food? No, you will not. Okay? It is like you slept 8 hours, okay, and you are not sleepy. So will you sleep more? No. So when your body has already sufficient amount of ATP, do you need glycolysis or TCA cycle? No, you don't need it. When your body is deficient of ATP, then you will need this glycolysis or TCA cycle. In every reaction, energy is not needed. No, we don't need energy in every reaction. There are only specific steps where you will need energy, just like I showed you a step number 2, where you were using the enzyme isomerase. See this step. In this is I am clearing this, okay, and wait a second. See this step. See this step. Are you using any energy here? Are you using any energy molecule here, like ATP or like FAD or like GTP, or like you are using NADP? They all are energy molecules. Are you using any of them here? No. You don't need energy molecule in every step, only in certain steps. Okay, and the name of enzyme will tell you that either you are using energy molecule or you're not using. So the name of enzyme matters. Okay, that is why it is also given in your first aid book. First aid is a high yield book. Okay, they never give anything which is not important. So please focus. So what I was telling you previously was, okay, so I was telling you that if your body is deprived of ATP or any energy molecule, then you will be needing glycolysis or TCA cycle. So that the same thing is written over here. Plus means that this AMP, now one more concept is here, and that is AMP, then we have ADP, and then we have ATP. Okay, so M is monophosphate, that means this structure has one phosphate group. Di is 2, so it is like it is having 2 phosphate groups, and tri is 3, so it is having 3 phosphate groups. So the highest energy molecule is ATP, and the lowest energy molecule among all 3 of them is AMP. Getting my point? So if I will say that we have this AMP, okay, and we do not have ATP. We have AMP, like our body is having low energy, then glycolysis will continue. We need glycolysis because we want ATP. We do not have sufficient energy molecule. We have the lowest energy molecule in our body, and we need high energy molecules to perform our metabolic activities. Okay, so AMP will promote this step. If I take you back to the book, you see AMP is promoting this step. However, ATP is inhibiting this step because by uh, by high energy molecules you are doing this all work, okay, of your body, all the metabolic activities, the movement, the thinking. Even I'm teaching you right now, so my brain is using all this glucose right now in our body. The highest organ that use glucose is our brain. So we are not doing any physical work, and we are only studying like 16 hours or 18 hours, and we get tired. Why? Because our body is getting deprived of glucose. Our brain uses the most glucose. Okay, so right now I'm teaching you, I'm not doing any physical work, I'm sitting and teaching you, but still my brain is using glucose. So my body needs glycolysis, my body needs TCA cycle. Because I have AMP, I do not have ATP. But when my body is not doing any kind of work, okay, and I'm at rest position, I don't need glycolysis or TCA cycle a lot to go on in my body because my body has high energy molecules. So when you have these high energy molecules like ATP, okay, this cycle will automatically inhibit. So please remember these regulators. Okay, also citrate is a regulator. Okay, also citrate is a regulator. Why citrate is a regulator? Because citrate is a substance of your TCA cycle. You call TCA cycle as citric acid cycle. It is another name of TCA cycle, citric acid cycle. So citrate comes from TCA. Okay, and the first energy cycle is glycolysis. The second energy cycle is TCA. When you are done with glycolysis, then you move to TCA. It is not like you are doing your body is dealing with the TCA cycle and there is no glycolysis going on. No, because the last step that we get from glycolysis is pyruvate. This is the last step of glycolysis cycle, and that pyruvate is converted to acetyl CoA, which is the first step of your TCA cycle. Okay, so if you will have enough of citrate, if you will have enough of TCA cycle, you do not need glycolysis. So ATP along with citrate both can inhibit this rate limiting step, and AMP, a low energy molecule, can activate this rate limiting step. Okay, so if I will take you to your first aid book, now you understand this little thing. We are only left with fructose 2,6 bisphosphate. Okay, let me explain you that also. So this is what they have written. ATP and citrate is inhibiting this step, and AMP is activating this step. Okay, now the second thing is fructose 2,6 bisphosphate. From where this is coming? This is 1,6 bisphosphate, but we also have 2,6 bisphosphate. So let me show you. Mm, have they shown it here? Basically, fructose 2,6 bisphosphate is your gluconeogenesis. Mm, they have not shown it here, but I think it is given in your first aid. just see this little step. We will be studying this regulation of fructose 2,6 bisphosphate in detail, but I just want to show you the mechanics that how fructose 2,6 bisphosphate will activate your glycolysis cycle. Okay, so now you see this is your glycolysis. Wait, where is my pen? Okay, now you see this is glycolysis. Okay, and this is gluconeogenesis. Glycolysis goes like this and gluconeogenesis goes like this. The same substrates, the same products. The substrate in a glycolysis will be a product in a gluconeogenesis because the direction is opposite. Okay, but there are some enzymes that are different from glycolysis and some substrates or products that are different from glycolysis. One of them is fructose 2,6 bisphosphate. We have this fructose 1,6 bisphosphate. Okay, I just showed you that we have a glucose, then we have a glucose 6 phosphate, then we have a fructose 6 phosphate, then we have a fructose 1,6 bisphosphate, and this is how glycolysis will go on, and the last product will be pyruvate. Okay, this is the whole picture of your book. Okay, it is coming like this, or I may make it more better. Okay, this is glucose 6 phosphate and this is glucose. So this is step number 1, this is step number 2, this is step number 3, and this is step number 4, and then the last step will be pyruvate. But if we go opposite to this fructose 6 phosphate, okay, like if we go upwards, we were going downwards. If I go from fructose 6 phosphate back to glucose, this will become gluconeogenesis. Okay, but there is an extra step which is fructose 2,6 bisphosphate. Now what is this extra step? This fructose 2,6 bisphosphate is important because it is the difference between your fasting state and your well-fed state. When you are in your fasting state, when you are not having enough food like in Ramadan, when your body is fasting, okay, you need to produce more glucose. You need to produce more glucose by other substances, new substances, NEO, okay, I told you yesterday, from proteins and lipids. At that particular time, we are our body is doing gluconeogenesis. Gluconeo, the NEO in your gluconeo means the carbs are the glucose or the carbs are producing from proteins and lipids. Please remember this point. Neo means from other substances, not from carbohydrate is not being producing by a carbohydrate. Glucose is not produced by glycogen or by fructose or by lactose or by other sugar. No, it is being produced by proteins and lipids. That is what gluconeogenesis means. Means the generation or the production of glucose by a new substance. Okay. In a fasting state, our body do gluconeogenesis, and at that time, in that fasting state, we have this additional step. So this step is not of glycolysis. This step is of gluconeogenesis. Okay. Please make sure. So if your body, now let's say if your body is having enough fructose 2,6 bisphosphate, please wait a second. Okay, so if your body have enough, what say, if your body have enough this fructose 6 phosphate, okay, do you need glycolysis? Will you need glycolysis? Yes or no? If your body have enough fructose 2,6 bisphosphate, is glycolysis will go on or glycolysis will not go on? What do you think? Glycolysis occurs or glycolysis happen when we are well fed. Like if you had a breakfast, okay, you had a breakfast your body will be doing this glycolysis to produce more ATP, because you already have stores now, and you are producing this glucose, and it will go in TCA cycle and all that. So when your body will have more fructose 2,6-phosphate, we will be having more glycolysis. This reaction will go on. Okay, so that is what it is written in your book, page number 73, which we are studying. Okay, you see, when your body has enough fructose 2,6-bisphosphate, okay, when your body has enough fructose 2,6-bisphosphate, positive, okay, enough of fructose 2,6-bisphosphate, you will be doing this step. Okay, so please remember these little things, these little points. These points are very important, and they will help you in understanding all these cycles, and like if you will make a concept for these regulators once, you don't need to do this ratification. Okay, just if you get an MCQ, you have to just think for a second that okay, my body is deprived of energy, my body is deprived of energy, I am having AMP or I am having ATP, so I need glycolysis. My body has enough energy, I don't need the cycle for energy production because it is already enough in my body. So more ATP, no glycolysis. Okay, similarly, there is enough of citrate in my body, enough of TCA cycle, so I don't need glycolysis more. So more citrate, less glycolysis, more ATP, less glycolysis, but more AMP, more glycolysis, more fructose 2,6-bisphosphate, more glycolysis. This is your concept. Okay, make concept. Biochemistry is also concept, if you understand. Then let's come to this uh, gluconeogenesis. Okay, so before coming to gluconeogenesis, let's go back up to this. Okay, I will, okay, it's fine. So now we have done kinase. So the other enzyme that deals with the phosphate group is phosphorylase. What phosphorylase do? Kinase was transferring from a high energy molecule, transferring a phosphate group from a high energy molecule to the substrate. But phosphorylase is just adding, okay, without using ATP. So this is your key point and this is your MCQ now. Kinases also deals with phosphate. Phosphorylases also deals with phosphate. Phosphatases also deals with phosphate. But kinases add, phosphorylase add, phosphatase remove. But the difference between kinase and phosphorylase is kinases uses ATP. Phosphorylase don't use ATP. You're getting my point. There is a huge difference in between using an ATP and not using an ATP. Okay, so the next reaction which we will see to understand this enzyme is is this glycogen phosphorylase, or I may check if we have any enzyme in your glycolysis cycle. Okay, it doesn't, it's not like that we can only, okay, so just give me 1 second. Let me first check what is the page number of your book so that it may become easier for you to understand. So this glycogen phosphorylase, which is written over here, where it is written, this glycogen phosphorylase, which is written over here, is the breakdown of glycogen. Okay, this is a cycle which we call glycogenolysis. Okay, glycogenolysis means breakdown of glycogen. So that is a step, okay, in which we are breaking down glycogen. Glycogen G, okay. So it is page number 188, 128 from your textbook. Let me take you. Hmm, you see this step. See this step. This glycogen and glucose 1-phosphate. At this level, you use the enzyme glycogen phosphorylase. This cycle, this cycle is glycogenolysis. Glycogenolysis means breakdown of glycogen. Glycogen. Okay, then we add O lysis. Glycogenolysis. So glycogen breakdown. O is like an additional to join two words. Okay, glycogen lysis, glycogenolysis, breakdown of glycogen. You are breaking down this glycogen into glucose 1-phosphate, and then this goes into glycolysis cycle. So this is the first step of your glycogenolysis, which uses this enzyme glycogen phosphorylase. Okay, and this is a rate limit. This is a rate limiting step. If this step shuts down, you will not be having your glycogen breakdown. Okay, so in order to show you the book, PCA cycle, gluconeogenesis, glycogen metabolism. So now here you will see this is see this step. You see this step. This is the breakdown, the degradation of glycogen, glycogenolysis. The heading is also written for you, so you can just see the breakdown of glycogen. So now this is a glycogen chain. Glycogen is a polymer, right? It is a polymer. It consists of many molecules, so of glucose. So you see now this glycogen is a polymer. This is a whole chain, and what you are doing in your this enzyme glycogen phosphorylase is adding a phosphate group. You see this phosphate group is added, and it is attached to here at this particular level. Okay, this first ring, to this first ring the phosphate is attached, and the rest of the rings are same. So this phosphate is not coming from ATP. This phosphate is not coming from ATP. It is just present. Okay, it's just added. So phosphorylase enzyme do not uses ATP, but kinase enzyme uses ATP. Kinases add a phosphate group by transferring them from a high energy molecule, for example ATP, to the substrate. But phosphorylases only add a phosphate group and they don't use ATP. So now you have seen the example of a kinase, and you have seen an example of a phosphorylase. Also, you have studied the enzyme and the regulators of glycolysis. And let me show you. If the lecture stops suddenly, please don't panic, and you can. I will post the link once again, and you can join it. Okay.